date is your day of birth so I know when to schedule the Steam gift?
Right. Wednesday, it's the 28th, same day as...
Oh, it's the anniversary.
I
Oh,
think I remember this happening because I'm
Game.
pretty sure that last year I saw it and I pointed
Same thing.
it out.
Yeah.
Like, what a great day.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, no, that was our final day of our first Comic-Con together. So
Oh,
Bless.
you guys are grosser than us.
asked her out in the early hours of the morning on the walk home from the club.
Oh god,
How romantic.
that is really cute.
By a building site on the way to the hotel.
Oh, if it helps, that is way better than Ollie and I, because we'd been like dating for a couple of months, but like both of us were like furiously like insisting that we didn't want anything serious.
No labels.
Yeah, exactly. And this went on for some time. And then one day we had that awkward conversation where we were like,
so
what are we?
We just kind of... Is this a thing now?
Yeah, that is. It's because we went for like a date at Wagamama's.
Nice.
And we'd just been to, I don't know if you know of it, there's a parrot zoo in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And we went there for like our first proper like day out together, and it was amazing.
Cute.
And we went to Wagamama's on the way home, and we met somebody that Ollie worked with, and he was just like, "Oh, you guys," and both of us were just kind of like,
seeing someone.
neither of us knew how to respond.
Yeah.
So then later that day, we were just kind of like, "So,
is this
are we a thing?"
Oh.
And then we're a thing.
Very cute.
And then still stuck with him now.
Hey, you got a dog and everything.
I know.
Lovely.
Cute. What a nice little bit of intro.
I wonder how Ollie would tell that story. Would it be similar?
He'd probably just be like,
Juicy
yeah,
details?
someone asked if I was tapping that, and I said yeah.
I can't imagine Ollie saying that in in any capacity.
If you just imagine it in the most awkward white boy way possible, does it make sense then?
Yeah.
Because he genuinely was asked the next day by that guy he worked with, like, "Oh, are you hitting that?" And he just sort of went, "Yeah,
I guess." On the reg.
Hello and welcome to BeansTalk, the only show where you can hear some actual baked beans have a chat. I'm Joel Loynes. Joining me this week is Jacob Dickens.
Bringing the sauce.
And Lauren Best.
I am the tin.
Does that mean that Joel is actually the beans?
Yeah. I guess so.
And what's Ollie? What does that make Ollie?
Well, he's not here, so he can be the tin opener that you can't find.
The ring pull that breaks off.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
Video games.
Something about video games.
Something about video games. There is not. We're still in that weird position between console launch and
there being any news before then.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like not a lot going on.
Yeah. I actually paid off my PS5.
Oh yes, your £2,500
that was really
PS5.
Weird. Curry, I did get this really weird email through, just being like, just so that no one can pre-order further, or it's like not a massive influx of pre-orders when we open these back up again. We're going to increase the price by £2,000, but that's fine because you've got a £2,000 discount code, so you'll still pay the normal price. But it was still a bit shocking when it was like, yes, you owe about £2,500, Jacob, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so I saw like everyone on Twitter freaking out, like Currys had increased the price to £2,500 on their website.
Hilarious.
And then and they did this before I think they sent the emails out. Like the emails started spreading out across the Twitterverse and whatever. And as soon as that, it was just like, this is a weird way to do it. You obviously don't have a way to not hide the buy now button.
Yeah,
Currys are very weird anyway as a company.
It is in like why they still exist, or
that, and I just find that my mum has like an irrational hatred towards Currys as well. As you know,
it's no Dixons.
Ooh.
Well, I remember when I was 18 and I got my first like proper job and my first proper paycheck, I wanted to buy myself an iPad.
Mm.
And my mum came with me, and it was back when PC World was still a thing, and it was like Curry's and PC World in Lincoln were next to each other. Do you remember
They
it?
were
Tritton
separate
Road.
entities.
Yes.
But they shared the same stock. So
Mm.
like they were like
Oh.
they were basically under the same umbrella as a company. So like if one place didn't have any in their stock room, they would go next door and to see if they had one. So
Mm.
like my mum was like fuming that this was happening anyway because they kept being like, "Oh, have you tried going next door?" And my mum was like, "No, I've come here." And then they wouldn't stop trying to sell her insurance. Like they just kept asking her to insure the
All
iPad,
the extras, yeah.
and she was so mad that she just walked off and like just abandoned the sale of my iPad.
Just noped out of there.
And then so she stormed out of the store and then stormed back in to hit the unhappy smiley face on the customer satisfaction
Oh,
like
that's the best.
stand.
knowing your mum, I can actually picture it in my head.
So we
Hang
had to
on, I've
go
got to let
next
them know,
door to
beef.
PC World to buy the same iPad. And she specifically said, "Make sure that nobody at Curry's profits from this sale." And I was like,
Wow.
"Mum, they're the same
Gosh.
people."
That does sound like something my mum would do too.
Oh, and so now, like, if ever she gets like a bit like that, I'm like, "Mum, please don't buy an iPad at this establishment."
It's funny what you say about that stock thing, because we had the exact same thing with our. We had Game and Game Station literally about 100 meters from
Oh,
each other,
yeah.
Oh.
like across the way in our town centre. So I went to. I remember I bunked off of school one day to go there instead, and to go buy the Soul
Shake.
Calibur 5 strategy guide. Um,
What a reason to bunk off
I
school.
know, it was
Not
sixth
even a
form.
game,
I
just a
just about
guide.
got through it. Instead, I had all those 6 strats for Soul Calibur 5. And as I said last week, that was the game I had the best online record in. So evidently it was worth it.
Wow.
um,
All
but
thanks to
yeah,
bunking
so I went
off.
into game because I think I saw it in there like the week before and they didn't have it. So literally the manager was just like, follow me. And we walked over to Game Station and then they asked the guy at Game Station if they had any. They were like, yeah. They just picked one up and then we just kind of took it back to game and then I bought it in game.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And then funnily enough, he ended up being my manager at CEX later on.
Oh my
My good buddy
gosh.
Simon. If only I knew.
Yeah, no, the game and the game station in Manchester in the Arndale were like, I'd say like a floor above each other
Oh yeah.
before Game Station shut down.
Mm.
So it was always the case of whenever I was taking back. This was when I was taking games back and getting cash for them to trade them in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd do the rounds of like, okay, I've taken it to game. Now I'll take all these games back, go to Game Station, get the receipt from
Compare
Game
that price,
Station,
yeah.
compare the prices, and then just go to CEX anyway because they'll give me hard cold cash for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
that was during the early days of CEX when I think they were trying to build their stock.
Yeah, probably.
So I got like 30 quid for Gears of War 1.
Oh wow. What year was this?
This would have been 2008, 2009,
Sounds
roughly.
about right, maybe. Yeah.
So I ended up getting about 100 quid for Gears of War and a stack of DS games that were
very nice.
pure garbage. Stuff like Asphalt 2.
Oh yeah.
The Driving from Gameloft.
That was like a launch game for the DS or something, yeah.
Yeah, like not
Asphalt Urban
it's
GT or something.
yeah, not Need for Speed, but looks like it, and
Yeah.
is also 20 quid, so it's cheaper.
Wow. Video game
miss that.
retail. Oof.
I miss that era of Gameloft where they would put out pure shite that just looked like but played like games that you knew.
I think I always kind of steered clear of it because I don't know if I was just wise to the fact that they were just a bit kind of.
Yeah, I was wise to it, but other family members not so.
I suppose so. That's how I ended up with games like Shrek Treasure Hunt on PS1.
Yeah, or like
Thanks, Granny.
or like Scooby Doo.
The Cyber Chase.
Something, I think it was something like that.
Hannah loves the
Uh,
Cyber Chase game, even though it is whack.
I just love
It's-
Scooby Doo.
I love Scooby-Doo. I didn't like that new Scoob movie though.
No,
I
I am
didn't see it.
obviously. Oh, okay, fun tangent. I would obviously be Velma, surely.
Yes, you
Oh.
would be the Velma of the crew.
Okay.
Hannah would make a perfect Daphne. Let's be honest.
She's been called Daphne a lot in the past, being a ginger.
And Ollie is
Okay,
a walking Shaggy.
that makes McGinley Scoob.
Well, which one of you is
Right.
going to be Fred and which one of you is going to be Scrappy Doo?
I mean,
Well, I'm Scrappy Doo.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it, but
I mean, come on, like tiny giant head and
Lots of
refuses to shut up.
feistiness.
yeah, that fiery
refuses-
temper. Yeah,
and refuses to shut up.
I feel like I can be wholesome enough to be Fred. I'm just not sure if I'm confident enough to be the leader of the group.
I mean, we're all a team at the end of the
Okay.
day.
That's
I
fair
mean,
enough.
also, Jacob could pull off an ascot.
I was literally
Ooh,
about to
better
say
than I
this. He
could.
could 100% do the
I'll
cravat
definitely
thing.
give that a go. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's gonna. I mean, I would probably just turn up myself and I'm already Velma. I've got the glasses.
Well, there we go.
Got the glasses.
I think we found some episode artwork or something like that.
Oh boy.
A new Photoshop job for Joel.
There we go. That's gonna be the next.
But who are we unmasking? That's the question.
Well, that's an in joke that we can't say on the air.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling beans.
Speaking of like old cartoons and stuff, have you seen that they're bringing back the Animaniacs
Yeah.
Really?
and Pinky and the Brain?
Oh, do you not think that the new Galarian Slow King / Slowbro? It looks like it just makes me think of Brain.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look him up now.
Yeah, look, the new one. I think it's Slow. Was it Slow King?
Oh, that's incredibly cursed.
Isn't it? It looks like Brain from Pinky and the Brain, and I can't take it seriously.
Oh, it definitely wants to take over the earth.
I
Yeah.
think Brain was in that trailer for that new Animaniacs thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's even Steven Spielberg's actually like
Wow.
genuinely involved with it again.
That's cool.
They got all the cast back, and it looks great. I like Animaniacs quite a bit. I don't remember a lot of it because
don't
I
really.
it started airing before I was even born, so in '93.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny we mentioned Scooby-Doo and the old cartoons, because last time we had our cosplay friends over, we ended up watching Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, which I don't know. They really wanted to watch it. I was not paying attention. It was like a TV Scooby-Doo movie that came out in 1988, and the animation is horrible for 1988. And I literally looked it up, and I was like, Akira came out 3 years after this, and this comparatively speaking, this is horrible.
This is like end of days Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School,
where they were just they'd got down the laziness to a science.
To borrow a Joel phrase, they were just farting them out.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I don't like this evil Shaggy.
Yeah, it was
in the mirror. No. But speaking of ghoul schools,
yeah.
Did you see that Oculus are being quite scary if you delete your Facebook account?
No, I've not seen about this.
So because all new Oculus Quest 2s and stuff like that, you need to sign in with a Facebook account basically to tie your but if you delete your Facebook account, with good reason, some people might want to do that, they will delete all your Oculus games as well, regardless of if you paid for them or if they're free. They're
so if you reactivate your account, would those purchases still be kind of downloadable?
If you deactivate your Facebook account instead of permanently deleting it, you also won't be able to access your Oculus information. However, this can be reversed by reactivating it.
But if you just delete it entirely, purge it from the earth kind of thing.
The amount of people who get their Facebook hacked, though, that's not exactly a...
This is this is why you need to two-factor authenticate everything, which
Yeah.
is why at the minute I'm currently between two different phones, as running downstairs, running to the other room to get the other phone, which is getting the text while I wait for 3 to transfer my number over.
Yeah, I went through a whole thing the last time I upgraded my phone because I forgot to take my BattleNet authenticator off of my phone
Oh
after
my
I traded
god.
it in, and then I had to go through a whole thing with Blizzard support and send in a picture of my ID and everything. And
Yeah, I had to do that at uni when I changed phones and numbers, and it was just like, I want to play Diablo 3. Ah, shit.
yeah,
This old phone with my SIM card in is in Manchester, 3 hours away. So yeah, no, that I had to do it with. I've got two-factor authentication on my Nintendo account now,
oh yeah, after
which
all that.
uses
Oh yeah, you got hacked,
which
didn't you?
someone tried to hack, but I don't think they got very far, nor did they do very much with it, considering that my PayPal account was attached to it and could have very easily just bought a lot of games. Yeah, no, I don't know if did I tell this story on the podcast? I
About the
don't know if I
Nintendo
did.
thing?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So some guy tried to log into my Nintendo account who was based in Turkey. So I know Nintendo got some details leaked quite a while ago now,
Hmm.
passwords and stuff like that. So obviously that information's circling around, but um, I, I I I wasn't sleeping, so at 3 o'clock in the morning, my email pops up and says like, "Hey, this guy's trying to get into your account. Is this you?" And it's like, "No, clearly it's not me, Nintendo." It's like
My
all
good
my
buddy in
locations
Turkey.
the only foreign location I've logged in is in Mallorca when I took my Switch with me,
Hmm.
and even then it freaked the fuck out. But no, so I've put they don't have their own authentication app. They just piggyback off Google Authenticator.
Hmm.
That changing phones from iPhone to from Android to iPhone, and also trying to bring over your Google Authenticator account is the biggest ball ache
I can imagine.
I
Yeah.
have ever, because for Android stuff it just generates a QR code, and then um you just scan basically with your old phone, with the new phone on the old phone,
Hmm.
whatever. For an iPhone you've got to go onto the web page, and it won't load on mobile because they know. So you got to go on your computer and you got to go. And then, so to get access to my own account and my own stuff, it took like an hour of futzing around with Google's back-end stuff, which was the biggest ball ache I've ever
So,
had to deal with.
so you're
Like,
already regretting moving from Android to iOS?
no, because iOS is very nice, Jacob.
It
So
is.
this iPhone 12 is is glorious and very nice, and it keeps telling me to. I put on that screen time thing, and
Oh yeah.
and so it tells me off when I've been on my phone for too long.
We have the same thing on Hannah's, or at least it was on Hannah's old phone, where she'd set like an ideal bedtime, and then it'd be like, "Go to bed, Hannah," and we're like, "Shut up! I want to play Danganronpa."
Yeah, I've got that set for Monday through Friday because weekends is my time.
Yeah.
But I guess like I'll talk about like I subscribed for that first 3 months free to Apple Arcade.
Okay, I've never touched Apple Arcade as long as I've had iPhones.
There's a weird selection of games on there, but most of them seem like distractions more than actual
Anything you can actually get your
games.
teeth into, yeah.
So I just downloaded whatever looks nice,
Yeah.
I guess. Like, it's a lot of endless runners
Uh-huh.
and exit the gungeon.
Oh, was that on here? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was on mobile.
like Pac-Man Party Royale.
Oh boy.
Because I bet somewhere Pac-Man's branding means you can't say battle
Yeah, it's too
or something
violent.
along those lines. It's too violent. I mean, the Apple are putting a lot of effort into like it's got its own section on the App Store now, which is wild to think about.
Mm.
considering Apple's history with games. But I downloaded a game called what was it called? Assemble with Care,
Okay.
which is like a point and click sort of story-driven game where it's very simple puzzles. You know, you're taking apart like you're can't remember what she's called now, Maria. You play this girl Maria, and she's a repair lady, and she takes things apart and puts them back together for customers.
Oh, sounds quaint.
And yeah, so it's using a lot of like, you know, you're taking apart like a slide projector, which has got family memories of two characters, and you see how their relationship, you know, unfurled and
Oh.
it's getting put back together and stuff like that.
It's just reminding me of that TV show, The Repair Shop.
The what?
It's on like BBC on Sundays for old people. Just,
like the Archers.
It's
like...
just it's just people bring in stuff and they're like, "Oh, this was handed down to me from my grandma, and it would mean a lot to me if you could restore it," kind of thing.
So it's kind of that vibe, except like indie darling style. You know, like my wife gave me this watch. So yeah, it's like you think it's focusing on like Maria's and her repairing, but it's actually like, here's these two relationships that like, you're actively repairing them through accidental means, basically. It's very nice. It took me an hour to beat,
but it was a nice hour.
It was a nice hour. It put me straight to sleep. I played that at night. And then I also played Rayman Mini.
Trying to think if I've played that or not.
The endless runner Rayman in the style of Rayman Legends.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
This is the best we can do with Rayman, apparently.
Well, it's you know, and now that On Cell's not there, I don't know what's going to happen to Rayman. But
I mean, he deserves it, but still.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully his team or whoever was working on Rayman has the balls to like actually start taking back up, you know, pitching it and stuff like that. Because it's so boring.
A lot of these runner games are like, even Mario Run's not that fun.
No, it's just missing that vibrance. You know, if it had like, you know what would make it a very good runner? If it was all set to like the musical levels.
Yeah. Oh my god, those were the best.
Which were basically just runner levels, you know, with skill.
Yeah. Some of the best parts of those games were the music levels. Yeah. God, I need to play through that game again.
The Black Betty one is maybe the funniest, most stressful thing I've ever had to experience.
There's a really tough one at the end in the kind of underworld called the Night of the Livid Dead, and that was real tough.
What cracking pair of games those were.
So good.
I might replay those if I think I've still got them somewhere. I think I downloaded them via GOG.
I'm sure they were at least when I was considering my favorite games of all time. I was like, I'm sure they were at least in the short list. I can't remember if they made it into the top 10 or not, but
that first one was like a great return to form for Rayman, and then that second one just blew it out the fucking water almost immediately.
Yeah.
And
then I basically included all of the good parts of the first one as well, because there was so many of the, I think they're called like flashback levels or throwback levels or something like that, where they just included the best levels from the first game in the second one. So it was like 1.5 games.
It was, yeah. Oh man, now I'm gonna replay that shit.
I would love to play through that with you if you did want to.
The second one's on sale on Switch at the minute.
I think I've already got it. Yeah, it's one of those games I've bought several times.
Speaking of Switches, Joy-Cons are getting a price reduction.
Ooh, are they?
They're also selling them singularly now, aren't they? Or at least the original ones.
Yeah, the original ones I think are getting sold.
The blue and the orange.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I got a bit excited because I was like, "Oh man, maybe I can finally get 2 purple Joy-Cons." But no, there's still no right purple Joy-Con.
Yeah, we've got the Ollie bought me purple and orange last year for my birthday, and I bought him the navy and yellow ones.
Hmm.
But we still need the pink and green to complete our collection.
I've currently got a purple and a pink is my setup.
Oh,
Yeah.
cute. I
Yeah.
really
I've
want the
just
Animal Crossing
Yeah,
Joy-Cons.
Hannah's got the Animal Crossing ones.
Ugh.
You can get those from the Japanese Nintendo store,
Are they back in
Lauren.
stock?
I don't know.
Oh.
I can't tell you that information, but I can tell you that they're reducing the individual Joy-Cons by $10.
I
It's
mean,
still
I'll
a
take
lot.
it. I'll take it.
It's
To be
still a
fair,
lot.
as much
Like,
as it's expensive, like I have had my Joy-Cons repaired by Nintendo and I found it a fairly positive experience.
Hmm.
Um, I had
yeah,
the drift, the dreaded drift in my original blue one.
Yeah.
So I sent it off. They send you like a package thing. So I sent it off in the post. And then I was waiting for them to send me an email to say they'd received it, tell me what the problem was. And then I was honestly expecting them to be like, do you want us to repair it? This is how much it's going to be.
Hmm.
And then I never got that email. And I was just like, oh God. Because like if it was going to be super expensive, I would rather have like replaced them.
Yeah.
But then I just got another message like a couple of days later, like, yeah, everything is on its way back to you. And I was like, did they not repair it? And they didn't charge me. And they also gave me a free 1 year's renewal on my warranty.
Ooh.
yeah. So I think Nintendo actually have just bit the bullet on this, and basically anything with drift
Yep,
on it,
because it's their fault.
uh, yeah, because they're poorly built the first time round. I mean, I've never had any issues with. The only time I've ever had issues with my Joy Cons were when I was putting the Switch itself when it was docked behind the TV, and it would lose. It would for some reason, if I was sat too far away, it would begin to lose
I
connection.
still have trouble with that. Even when I'm not too far away, if I'm like sitting
Oh.
back on the sofa sometimes and
Oh,
like
I've
my
never had that
leg is in the
problem.
way of where the signal would be going, then it will temporarily lose it. And with some of the games I play, stuff like Smash, it can be really frustrating. So I have to make sure
Yeah,
that I'm literally sat there with nothing in between the controller and the dock. Obviously, it can still
Oh,
be a fair distance. It's not like, I've not got a massive living room or anything. Um, but
mansion,
yeah, no,
Darren.
it can sometimes be a bit dicey in that respect. Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. I also have issues whenever the batteries are low, and it's just like starts to
See, I didn't know whether that
because
fed into it or not.
one of my Joy Cons has a weaker battery than the other, which
Yeah,
I've noticed, because I'll always like check the battery. It'll come up like battery's low, and it'll always be like
only on the one.
this one, this one's dead, and this one's perfectly fine.
How
So
strange. Yeah, that's probably a issue.
it might be time to get a pair of new Joy Cons. I've had these ones for 3 years. I've
Yeah.
not had any other. I've got like external controllers and stuff like that, but
I
and
only had
I
to replace the one, which was my orange one, which
and I
is now pink.
yeah, I currently use if I'm playing docked, I use the 8-bit do
We love 8-bit
USB
do.
8-bit do wireless adapter, which just lets me use my PS4 controller with my
Oh
Switch,
wow.
which is perfectly fine for me.
Yeah, I
Um,
should probably give that a go.
I mean, I think it was £20.
That was a good deal.
No, it was less than £20.
Less
I'm
than
gonna
£20.
say less than twenty
Even
pounds
better.
for it. It's basically just a Bluetooth device
Mm.
in disguise. So it also works on my PC. So that's how I've been playing. You know,
Genshin and stuff.
yeah, but it picks it up as an Xbox controller
Yeah.
which is fine, because that means I don't have to load up DS4 for Windows
Mm. Mm.
for Game Pass games. In other news, Twitch and Amazon are doing weird shit with DMCA's. It seems that people have cottoned on that people streaming music via Twitch while waiting or just in the background.
Oh well, just kind of yeah.
Um,
Like we'll be right
so
back,
even
and they'll play some music in the background, sort of thing.
yeah,
Right.
so so they've just basically been either striking channels and users with DMCA copyright strikes, which is a big risk to big Twitch stars.
Oh yeah.
I think Maximilian.
He does do that. That's why that was my first thought when you said
I
that. I was
think
like, oh man, Max does that.
I think he's had to delete something like tens of thousands of clips off his Twitch.
That's brutal.
Because I think someone's generated like an app, basically made an app to go through your Twitch account for copyright stuff.
God.
So but it's weird because Amazon owns Twitch and Amazon owns Amazon Music. So why can there not be like a level of like, workaround with Amazon?
As long as you use Amazon Music license stuff.
Yeah, you could link it in with Amazon
Yes.
Music,
Yeah.
because they already link in Twitch with like Amazon purchases and stuff. So it's just a weird thing. But all these freebie music places that no copyright music for YouTube and Twitch, dedicated databases and stuff.
Kevin MacLeod's going to be even more popular.
Well, no. Well, that depends. Because you have to still credit him whenever you use it, and a lot of people don't credit his stuff.
Internet legend.
Internet legend, Meatball Parade master.
Yes, absolutely.
Theme song maker of this very podcast.
Yep. The new one as well.
Yeah.
The jazzy intro.
The jazzy intro. That's his. That's in the top 10 at the minute because it was just.
He's like an official member of our podcast at this point.
I would love to interview him at some point in time of just like, the man has made more pieces of music than some artists will ever make in a lifetime. And he makes, but his website's changed a lot now. It's no longer that old. Yeah, it's like I think he sold to somebody who just manages it. You sold out. All the stuff's still free, but but now a big button comes up and says you can buy a license. You don't have to credit me. It's like I would consider it, but also it's just easier for me to copy paste this message into every video. And then I don't think there's much else for news this week.
I'm trying to think of something really.
Oh, Lauren.
Yes.
Tell me about The Sims.
Okay, so there's a new Sims expansion pack dropping in November, so not like in like 3 weeks. It is Snowy Escape for The Sims 4, and we all know that I'm a big schmuck for Sims. I have nearly 1,200 hours playtime currently.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big old expansion pack, and mixed reviews, I guess, as like, well, not reviews, but reactions. But I find the Sims community is always very, very split, because half of them are always just hype for whatever we get, and the other half is very, I hate EA, they don't give me anything I want this. And then whenever they'll have like very specific wants, and when it's not what they want, they will just shit on it. But it's very exciting. It's gonna be like, it's all like based on Japan, so it's like a mountain snowy like vacation destination. However, I think for the first time it's going to be like a blended world where there's going to be vacation lots but also residential lots, so it's not just predominantly residential or vacation, because there's a few from other packs where it's just a vacation destination and everyone's a bit salty about it because you can't like have your Sims live there. Like Selva Dorada and Granite Falls. But then you've got like with Island Living you have Sulani, which looks like a vacation destination, but it is just a residential world. So apparently it's going to be both, which is really cool. There's like snowboarding and mountain climbing and loads of like Japanese inspired like build stuff, so you can make like little sanctuaries. And yeah, I'm pretty excited.
That sounds cool.
I will always buy a Sims pack unless it's Journey to Batuu. That's like the only one that I just can't.
The
Star Wars one. I just can't see myself buying it.
What kind of one is it? So is that a vacation one?
It is like, it's almost like the world has its own story. So like
Right.
it's almost like a separate like story that you can play through with your Sims, but
Okay.
then once you get to the end of it, it's like there's not really much. Obviously, you get
No.
like the cosmetic side where you get like the new build mode items
They'll give you some
and
stuff to use in your main game kind of thing.
yeah, but
Okay.
I don't mind build mode items, but when it comes to like outfits and stuff, I use a lot of custom content. I download mods and stuff, so like I don't really use the Sims clothes that much.
Yeah.
Because it with Sims, like people that download CC or custom content, you're
Mhm.
split. Either you go for like what's called Maxis Match or Alpha CC, and it's like you either stay to the Sims style,
Yeah.
which is obviously Maxis, so it's very like
Mhm.
cartoony and like play.
Yeah.
But then you have, I don't know if you've ever seen like people make super realistic Sims, and
No,
then
I've such little point of reference for The Sims.
it's like just really realistic and not like the cartoony look that
Yeah.
Sims has. So you can add loads of different details, and I tend to lean more towards the Alpha CC.
Mm.
But people are very sort of like violently split down the middle on that kind of thing.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm very
Like,
excited.
A Sim Civil War.
I, it's- the Sims has always been like this weird thing where I've never actually put time into the actual The Sims, but I've always put time into like Sim City
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Like the the aspects. So I have played. I think the last Sims game that I actually touched and properly played was Sims 2.
oh, I loved Sims 2.
And I think I was just getting frustrated, like, why is this person not doing what I want it to do automatically? Why? Oh, he's pissed the floor. Oh God, now he's dead. And I think that's about as much as, and then laughing with my friends as they did woo woo, because we were 12 or whatever.
So
Um,
yeah, me and my friend always used to play Sims 2. I haven't played Sims 3. That's the only one that I didn't really play, but I used to play a lot of Sims 2, and then I got back into Sims with Sims 4 like 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, it's one of those games where I will spend hours upon hours a day for months just playing it constantly, and then I just won't touch it for another few months. Like
Mm.
there's just no in between.
Is it bad? I
yeah,
genuinely thought the most recent one was The Sims 3. I completely forgot 4 existed.
Yeah, this is 4th. The 4 is the longest one that's still like producing new content
So I feel
because
like there
everyone
was so much stuff for Sims 2 though. I
yeah,
feel.
yeah, Sims. And don't get me
yeah,
wrong,
because
there's
there was that conversation when Sims 3 came out of like, well, I've lost all my stuff for Sims 2. This game is bare bones.
Mm.
Um,
yeah.
uh, and I guess that was just the reality of the reality hitting of like, yeah, this is what a franchise like this does. As you lose everything and we build it back up again so that you can buy it all over again.
Yep.
We all schmucks.
We're all
Oh.
schmucks. The only other piece of news is that Darkest Dungeon 2 got
Oh my
announced.
god, yeah. Made me want to play
Yeah.
the first one again.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
awful. I'm awful at that
Oh,
game.
I'm really bad too.
I remember buying it after watching Ollie play it, and it was like back in our very early days, and I wanted to impress him, so I
Oh
also
yeah.
bought it so I could talk to him about it, and I was just really shit.
I don't think anyone can truly be good at that game. I think it's just brute forcing your way through until you've
It's
had a success.
chaos. It's
Mm.
pure like terrifying chaos. It's one of those things where just like something goes wrong and then it gets even worse and it just spirals downwards
Yeah.
and everyone's dying, everyone's
It's
poisoned.
it's like a D&D game where every dice roll has just 1 or 20 on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that so a friend of mine is a very, very big fan of Darkest Dungeon. I mean, like thousands of hours put into
Mm.
Oh wow.
the first game. And they are not happy that it is on the Epic Game Store exclusively. And this is the unfortunate, like, this sort of like the unfortunate reality of where modern video games are going,
Yeah.
which is it is no longer, you can no longer be dedicate. You can't have like, I get people having complaints about Epic and people having complaints about Steam. Steam has its 70-30 split,
Yeah.
which is old fashioned and only a holdover from early days of digital downloads and stuff like that, because it just there was no other way.
Steam was it.
And now I think Epic Game Store is a 90-10 split.
Hmm.
Let me just double check that.
Because the board game got announced too, didn't it?
Yes.
And the miniatures look lovely.
Yeah, the board game, and it's only 70 quid, the Kickstarter. So I think it looks pretty cool.
I think that'd be fun for us to play.
Yeah,
So
we should definitely, like we said that we wanted to get more into tabletops.
Hmm.
Oh no, Epic is an 80-20 split.
That would make 100.
Quick.
Yeah. Oh no, 12%.
Quick maths.
12%. I don't know. Basically, it's smaller than Steam.
Yeah.
But the thing with when you go exclusive on Epic is that most of the contracts that people are signing is, for a year you are with us, and also we'll give you a chunk of change to help with the development. So that's why a lot of indie developers are going exclusive on, or the smaller publishers like 505 Games and stuff like that. With Control, went exclusive with Epic, is because hey, development's getting more and more expensive.
Before we can actually sell it, we need to have this game get made.
Exactly, and it's so the and I think it's like representative of how weird the video game industry has been for years and years, where these exclusivity deals, okay, yeah, they can be anti-consumer and stuff like that, because you are you're limiting where it's going to go. But one, remember, it's only for a year.
Yeah.
Two, the game's in early access. Never buy a game when it's in early access. It's as bad as buying a game when it's in pre-order stages.
Mhm.
I think there's very few games where you should buy it in early access. Like, I didn't buy Hades until just before the 1.0 patch, because I didn't know if it was going to be a success or not. I know the game would go into 1.0, but I didn't know if it was going to be any good during its development. But we're no longer in, it's the same with consoles. Like, we're no longer in the consumers are in a weird position where everything's not going to be actively available everywhere, but we're in like this, the developers and the publishers and console manufacturers and stuff like that, they're in and Amazon and Google are now in this mix as well, which is fucking weird to say. It's now a content war. Like, Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda to screw over consumers. They did it to make their console and and their ecosystem more attractive to potential people, especially when they start launching xCloud across everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we've got Skyrim on the go. Doesn't matter what you've got, you can play your Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. Amazon doing partnerships with Ubisoft. With Luna, and presumably at some point will do more deals along those lines. You can see how it flopped for Google, because they've got fuck all. And Sony's like in this weird position where they're still trying to beat the console generation drum of like, as you usually would.
Yeah.
But what have they got other than like the very prestige games that they'll continue to put out over their first party stuff, which Microsoft don't have. Microsoft only have like this massive library because they splashed some cash. They bought it, which they had to, because they wouldn't be able to compete this generation if they didn't. Like, Halo got delayed and doesn't have a release date.
It's a big hit.
It's 2021, they said, and there's still rumors going around that it will still be a split launch. So when my friend was like, well, this isn't fair, they could have kickstarted it and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, but if they kickstarted it, I know that everyone knows it would be a success.
Yeah.
But you can't guarantee it would be a success. If you are now an established studio, you can't rely. You mean you only have to look at Double Fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Double Fine is now a Microsoft entity because they couldn't continue to fund themselves and their projects.
Yeah.
Presumably, because you saw how mismanaged. Like, it wasn't mismanaged. It was just like, we've got $4 million and whatever's in the bank to make Broken Age. Oh no, everything's gone horribly wrong because we've only got $4 million
Let's hire all these
to make this game. Let's hire these actors to make it. Oh shit! Oh, the money's gone.
Frodo Baggins. Wasn't he in that game?
Yes, and Jack Black.
Was Jack Black in Broken Age as well?
Yeah, he was a smaller role than.
Okay.
But very clearly in there.
Mm.
So my friend was just like, well, it's like a spit in the face of the fans, and it's like, it's not. Like, if they had gone exclusive after 1.0, if they put out Darkest Dungeon 2 and put it exclusively on the Epic Game Store, one, it's not a spit in the face of because, like, okay, you might not like the Epic Game Store, but if you are desperate to play Darkest Dungeon 2 now,
yeah,
when it launches in 2021, in early access, like, just download the Epic Game Store with a blank, a blank email address.
Yeah.
Don't give your information. There are ways to get around it.
Mm.
And I understand why people don't want to use the Epic Game Store, etc., whatever. But, like, a lot of these people are just then saying, well, why is it not launching on Steam? And it's just like, because if Steam was still the only option, real option, like, that's a monopoly. And, like, why are we all, as video game people, like video game fans and whatever you want, like, when people are like championing, like, oh, Sony should have bought Bethesda, this, that, and it's just like, yeah, let's make bigger companies even bigger.
Yeah.
And it's it's a weird position. Like, I think, and I think that conversation with that friend sort of opened that door in my mind of just like, holy shit, the video games have changed so rapidly in 2020.
Yeah.
Without anyone really noticing.
Crazy.
So that's why I spent the last two Thursday, Friday playing a game that came out in 2010.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a segue. Did you like that?
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I've played through the entirety of Alan Wake
in a day. In a day.
Well,
Joel,
it wasn't a day. It was 2 sittings.
It was 100% within the same 24 hours because you downloaded it the evening before, and the next day when me and Ollie got up, he said to me, I bet we get a message from Joel today that he's finished Alan Wake, and lo and behold, that evening you sent us a message that you'd finished Alan Wake.
Right, I can
tell. 2 sittings. That basically means that you got up to poop in between.
Yeah, had a bit of food, went back.
No, I went to bed.
After having a bit of food and a poo?
You pooped, yeah.
Right, hang on. I'm trying to find my Steam activity
because
stuff.
I'm not judging you. In fact, if anything, I am extremely impressed.
Oh yeah, same.
Well, this is more of the fact that, like, I am unfortunately unemployed and with nothing else to do.
It is. I have mad respect.
I can't find the portion of Steam where it tells me when I started playing. It just says that I last played it on October 22nd. Anyway, yeah, no. So, Alan Wake is still really, really good. Me and Ollie are going to have a dedicated little video to chatting about Alan Wake once he gets through it, and I'm not going to talk about like it in depth because Lawrence watching Ollie play
Yeah, I'm having
that
the
game.
experience. So we've only done episode 1. We were going to do longer, but I may have fallen asleep.
Yeah, there's only 6 episodes, and some of them are shorter than others. That game is that people keep saying like, oh, it uses all the bits and pieces of Twin Peaks, small town, weirdo lady with, instead of a log, it's a lamp.
Yeah, we saw Lamp
Uh,
Lady, and then there was the obviously the coffee and the cop.
Yep. So, there's all that stuff. So you get lured in with that. But then, like, at some point during that game, it changes very rapidly. People still say, oh, it's like a David Lynch dream sequence and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's more like John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, which was about an author who goes missing and another guy goes to look for him, and everything the author writes is slowly becoming true.
Where would you put it? Because you've just played Control, obviously a bit of linkage
Yes.
there. Like, how would you compare it?
So what in the Remedy top games?
Yeah.
So I would put Control at the top,
Ooh.
Max Payne 2,
Mhm.
then Alan Wake,
Mhm.
Max Payne 1, and then Alan Wake's American Nightmare,
Oh, yeah.
and then Quantum Break.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Right at the bottom. Alan Wake is super interesting in like how it plays, because it's still it's still like Remedy still coming straight off. Well, I say straight off. I mean, it took them 5 years to make the game, because at some point it was going to be an open world with a day and night cycle. You would be able to explore Bright Falls more. So like when you go into the coffee
Yeah.
into the diner and you get in the keys and stuff like that, you can imagine like the cutscene that is before and after that of like, let's get in the car. You would
Yeah.
drive the car to the to the diner, go in, do a GTA style thing, and then leave and go to the cabin, the cabin at Cauldron Lake, and then the day night cycle would occur. But they cut all that stuff out, because the game just wasn't forming. But the way the game plays is like super interesting, because there's no reticle on the screen. It's all done by the torch. So wherever Alan's pointing the torch is where you're probably going to shoot.
Mm.
But playing it on PC and going from so like I tried it with mouse and keyboard and then I swapped to a controller, but on like mouse and keyboard it's almost like a Wii game.
it.
Where like you could point wherever you wanted,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Metroid Prime 3.
It looks a bit wonky kind of thing when the
It looks a
character
bit
actually does it.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh right, they're pointing diagonally, like in a way that like a third person shooter never really feels like. But I really like the combat in that in Alan Wake. It's a bit different in American Nightmare. American Nightmare is a bit faster paced. I mean, you get like an assault rifle, and Alan Wake has an Uzi, and stuff like that. So combat's a bit faster and a bit more hectic. But God, like going from Alan Wake to American Nightmare, and it's just like, oh my God, American Nightmare is so boring. It's not scary at all.
It was a like Xbox Live Arcade release, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in a similar vein to Dead Rising 2 Case Zero.
Oh, I played that too. Yeah.
Like a small slice of what
Yeah.
Dead Rising will be, but like at least American Nightmare tries, to do something different. It's a different scope of Americana and American horror stuff. So it's a lot of 50s and deserts, iconography, whereas like Alan Wake itself is a lot of like, small town Washington
Yeah.
DC, Washington State, and forests, logging areas, mines, and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Whereas American Nightmare is space age, weird stuff is going on at the drive-through theater. Alan's in a different outfit in American Nightmare. He's got a grunge 90s grunge outfit on. Yeah, no, but going from like Control to Alan Wake is real wild, of just like how much like Quantum Break was such a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, so Lauren, you've seen Ollie play this. Alan Wake is like quite kind of fast and loose with its combat.
Yeah.
It feels like an old school, it feels a little bit like Max Payne 2, in fact. It's a little bit floatier than Max Payne 2. Max Payne 2 is like very stilted. It's that's a action game first, everything else second. Control plays a lot more like Max Payne 2 than Alan Wake does, but Alan Wake still has all the stuff that like Max Payne 2 had, like the hood elements of like ammo full in big massive font when you try to collect more revolver ammo and stuff like that, and like an inventory, choose your weapon, and whereas Control is, you have two guns at any one time and it's infinite ammo, and like and you've got psychic powers and stuff. But like Quantum Break doesn't let you shoot and move. You have to get into cover and like shoot like a TV show would.
Hmm.
And it's just like highlights how bad Quantum Break was, and such a weird like outlier for Remedy, of just like, this is so weird, this is so bad, how did this happen?
Yeah, I do wonder how they kind of had that idea. It obviously must have been a case where they did it one way with Alan Wake. We're like, okay, well, maybe we'll try a bit different for Quantum Break, and then we're like, this didn't work. Maybe we should go back to a
Yeah,
bit more open combat for something like Control.
yeah. And like Alan Wake still holds up even 10 years later,
It's super
which,
pretty. I was really surprised at how pretty it was.
yeah, so you'll be playing it in, I think, 1080p
Yeah, we're playing it on the laptop.
on the laptop. So I played it in 4K. So that's a game that could really do with like a fan made 4K patch or
Hmm.
something. Just because the UI is very small. In the video that me and Ollie will probably do about it, people will see like the UI is like super tiny,
Mm.
because it's still it's scaling for 1080p, and but it made it a little bit like that made it a little bit more fun for me,
Yeah.
because it was just like everything's off to the side. I don't have to focus on, like, if I don't want to focus on anything without, because I don't like to play without a hood.
Hmm.
Because Alan Wake's one of those games where you don't need a hood at all, really, other
Yeah.
than like to manage health and battery levels. But if you're getting hit, you're probably going to die very quickly anyway. Yeah, no, but then also like, so I played through both Alan Wake games like after finishing Control, and the AWE expansion.
Hmm.
Um, yo, I'd say Control is maybe one of the only games that I have continued to think about in a while after finishing playing it. Um, just everything about it, from like the way it doesn't treat people like idiots. You
Hmm.
get it. And I said this last week, like, once it explains something or it's shown something, it doesn't then spend 5 minutes explaining it, unless you go and search out like the additional documents and stuff like that. But I have a video about Control coming out soon, which is
Nice.
more to do about its architecture than anything. I hope people like hearing very basic analysis of brutalism.
Brutalism.
Yeah. Think big grey buildings, skyscrapers and
Lovely.
stuff. Yeah, no, Control ends like really strongly. The AWE DLC has a very bad boss in it as it tries to link itself with Alan Wake. It's a lot of like managing light and darkness
All right.
stuff. So, um, but luckily, like so that boss was just taking for fucking ever because it's one of those where it's like it'll do something and then it'll start to recharge its health, but I could never move fast enough to prevent the health recharge.
Yeah.
So luckily, Remedy, I think, have realized like, oh, people come to our games for story. Some of it, most people come to our games for story first sometimes. So there is totally accessibility options and instant kills in there. So I
Okay.
just turned that on, shot the boss once, and saw the story through because I was like, I've been doing because I was watching the footage back just to see how it was, and it was like half an hour of me futzing around with this last boss, not dying, infinite respawning enemies, and it was just like, oh, this is too much. But yeah, no, I Control surpassed Max Payne 2 for me, just in like terms of game and story. There's a great fake out in that game.
Interesting.
And yeah, no, and and going back to Alan Wake, like I'm sat in the same room I played Alan Wake a decade ago, in nearly the same position.
Funny.
Just 90 degrees turned. And yeah, it was interesting, and like also like so most games don't do this. Like I don't think any game's done this. Like Alan Wake's reloading stuff is very stressful because he won't automatically start to reload his gun.
Oh,
You have
right.
to hammer down X if you've got like the revolver or the shotgun, and so Alan will manually put in each
Oh, that's
thing,
interesting. Yeah.
and the faster you tap it, the faster he'll put it in. So if it's getting a bit hairy, like you can reload a lot faster. But then American Nightmare takes away a lot of that by automatically giving you a 9mm and an assault rifle and a combat shotgun.
So
And
reloading under
also,
stress is never a thing. You just swap to your other gun.
yeah, and also like, oh, you just press X once and you've immediately reloaded. But that game has a time loop thing, so I thought I was like, oh, that was relatively easy, and then it it wasn't. It made me do the same things 3 times
Yeah.
in a row, like different variations. Like this is exactly what to do at this point, so you already go do it instead of like having to go back all around the houses and stuff like that. But yeah, what's everyone else been playing though? That's enough of Control and Alan Wake.
Wow. Lauren, do you have anything?
Besides just generic Sims and watching Ollie freak out over Norman Reedus and a baby because he just bought Death Stranding yesterday, I've not really been playing much, but I hear you've got some things to talk about.
I have a few things.
Just before
Go
that,
ahead.
Lauren.
Yes.
What do you make of Death Stranding?
I feel like I'm a pretty straight-laced kind of gal, never done drugs, but I feel like I have done drugs when I watch Ollie play this game because, okay, the weirdest thing is the fucking baby.
The baby's weird.
The baby cries through the PS4 controller and I hate it. It's honestly like the dog hates it as well. He'll just be snoozing on Ollie's lap and all of a sudden the controller starts crying and Melvin is not happy.
Oh my god.
It's just really fucking weird, honestly. Like, but one thing,
Ollie's only a few hours into it.
yeah, I'd
And
say he's about 6 hours in. He played a
yeah,
little bit this morning.
it just goes. It is totally unfiltered Kojima in a way that I don't think anyone will allow him to do
That
ever
man
again.
is doing all of the drugs all at once. That's the only explanation for this monstrosity that has been created. Like, I...
Oh, no. It's not drugs. He's just a very bad writer.
It's just so fucking weird. Like, Don't get me wrong, Ollie is having a great time. It is 100% his shit, but
Oh, yeah,
it
like
ugh.
it is exactly like Ollie's type of game, and I think Ollie will have a very similar reaction to what I did with that game when, because God, that's nearly a year old now.
Mm.
Like when I got that game on last year, and it was just like, oh my God, this story's so bad, but I love playing it.
Yeah, I think it's very you basically, like, at the moment, at least for us, we have just got to assume and make our own plot connections and stuff based
Do
on.
do do not worry. There is multiple cutscenes
Oh,
where
yeah.
there are multiple cutscenes where they will elaborate. The ending is a 2 hour elaborate, like,
Oh God.
basically when Ollie hits the point of no return, like most open world games have, of like
Yeah.
the story's coming to a wrap up.
Mm.
You've got to literally carve out 2 hours of your time.
Yeah, the other day he literally just had to turn the PS4 off during a cutscene because it was that long, but we had to go.
Oh, you can pause cutscenes and put it to sleep, and it will resume from where
Oh, interesting.
you can straight up. If you press the pause button, it won't skip. It will literally pause. They introduced this in Metal Gear Solid 4 when they realized, like, oh right, yeah, people have got to do stuff during this hour long
Oh my God, I
cutscene.
wish Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did that, because
At least,
Jesus.
yeah, at least they're aware that this is a
Oh,
thing.
incredibly aware. Like I don't think I've got it was also used in Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, I want to say, as well. I can't remember. I
That
never
far
pause those
back.
cutscenes. Whenever I think the only stuff that it's not in is like the codec calls and stuff. But
Hmm.
no, because I always, whenever I'm playing a Kojima game post Metal Gear Solid 1, I will always carve out time where it's just like, nope, this is what I am doing. I will not do anything else for the next few hours. Yeah, because during the ending cutscene, which is literally the ending sequence, which is nearly 2 hours fucking long, I had to leave the house, and I was just like, fuck. That's like, yeah, I'm gonna be interested when Ollie returns next
Mm,
week to
honestly.
talk about that game.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear
Yeah.
about it because I haven't played it myself. I've seen people talk about it and whatever, and it just seems like such a unique kind of off the wall game to the point where I feel like it's
Yeah.
actively deterred me from playing it because I don't know if it's my kind of thing because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah. We just
Yeah,
got to
like,
the bit this morning where the origin of the bridge baby has been elaborated upon, where we
What is
learned
this
that
sentence?
the bridge babies, which detect the BTs, um,
yep.
so they are in their dead mother's wombs,
Oh,
so that they have a connection with the living world and the land of the dead, which is why
oh.
when you plug yourself into one, you can sense the BTs.
When you plug yourself into a baby, that is.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really
they
weird. There was Mads Mikkelsen, then he was going in your mouth, and then you were in the baby's mouth, and there was Mads Mikkelsen, and Norman Reedus was naked, and
yeah, they
Mm.
it was like a fever
the
dream.
Oh,
the BBs are pulled out of the womb 28 weeks, so they're between life and death.
would watching a
Because
let's
they've
play of this game suffice?
Yes,
Yes,
I 100% would not play this myself.
a let's play without commentary.
Okay,
Yes, because
just
you need to
somewhat
immerse
just
yourself.
gameplay.
It-
Yeah.
It's just so the weirdest thing for me was when all of a sudden it was like a music video. Like he was just walking along, and then all of a sudden this song starts playing. The camera zooms out. You have no control over the camera. You're walking along, and it's like this fucking song is playing, and then the song finishes, and you just zoom back in again. He just carries on walking.
Wow, artsy.
It was. It's just one big
it's
trip.
it,
It's like the
it
ladder
is
scene out of Metal
is,
Gear Solid 3.
but extended to a full game nearly.
Yeah.
That the microwave corridor from Metal Gear Solid 4, like Metal Gear Solid 4 was doing weird shit with like cutscenes and stuff, like the split screen the split screen in when you're fighting a boss in Metal Gear Solid 4 towards the end, and it splits in half so that you can also watch Raiden and Vamp have a sword fight, but you can't focus on the sword fight because
Oh
you've still
yeah,
got to focus on not getting a
you're
game over.
playing the game.
You're playing the game as well. Metal Gear Solid 2 had its postmodernist like turn off the game console
Mm.
messages, and Metal Gear Solid 3 was a bit more straightforward, and but it still did its artsy stuff with the ladder
Yeah.
and the boss fight, and I mean Metal Gear Solid 1, like Metal Gear 2, for instance, was a weird thing when that launched in the early 90s,
Mm.
of like long stretches of time of just conversations between two characters.
I keep thinking you're going to
Uh,
say Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Well,
Metal
was
Gibson.
Metal Gibson.
That truly is the darkest
Oh,
timeline.
Metal. What an invincible Mel
Metal
Gibson.
Gibson. He's taken over the
coming.
world.
He's coming to be racist down your phone.
Give me back my son.
Oh no, I do this thing that Ollie really hates, is that like I don't even think I have a hearing problem, but like I just don't hear what people say to me. But instead of asking them to repeat themselves, I will just repeat what I thought they
Go
said. And it drives him up the wall. Like he said something to me the other day, and I was like, banana pancakes, and he was like, no, like what? And it just drives him up the wall. And yeah, so every time you do it, I'm just like, Mel Gibson, no,
Mel Gibson.
no.
Yeah. I really need to play those games. I always feel like I'd enjoy Metal Gear Solid so much.
You will enjoy Metal Gear Solid more than you will enjoy Death Stranding, but they are a great introduction to like
Hideo
the
Kojima.
weirdness, the weirdness, and why people were drawn to Death Stranding in the first place.
Okay.
They're like you. So obviously, like the weirdest thing in that entire game is Guillermo del Toro is in that
I've
game
seen the screenshots, yeah.
as one of the main. He is Dead Man.
Don't
But
forget,
it's
Die
Die
Hardman.
Hard Man, Die Hard Man, and and then Sam Bridges is called Sam Bridges because that's the faction he comes from, and also he's bridging the gaps between America to rejoin
Right.
it.
Isn't Jeff Keighley in that game as well?
Jeff Keighley's in that game.
And
Conan
Mads
O'Brien's
Mikkelsen.
in that
Dorito
game.
Pope himself.
What's that?
Do you remember that meme that went around? He was like with his Doritos and Mountain Dew, and he had like a Dorito hat on.
Yeah. Mads Mikkelsen's in that game. You will encounter more of Mads Mikkelsen as you go along.
I like Mads Mikkelsen a lot. He's cool.
Yeah.
He is the best part of that entire game because
he's got those unique Silver Fox vibes.
Oh,
I kind
yeah.
of fancy Mads Mikkelsen.
I don't blame you.
who doesn't?
Yeah.
The Mads Mikkelsen stuff is better than the Norman Reedus stuff because obviously Norman Reedus could not be there for every sequence in that game because he is the main playable character, and like he's a busy man and has Walking Dead things to do and other stuff to do. So there's a large sequence in that game where he just doesn't talk, even though it feels like he should be in conversation with the character that he is currently carrying. Like this character is talking at him and he's not talking
He's
back.
not responding.
And it's all done, and like it's weird. So he like does a thumbs up and stuff like that instead of like saying like "see you later" and stuff. But whereas Mads Mikkelsen is only in that game for maybe a handful of hours at most. So he's
They got him for a weekend to record his stuff.
But he did all the mocap for it.
Oh, cool.
Like Norman Reedus did all the mocap, most of the mocap anyway. Like the stuff where he's got to act, he did the mocap. The stuff where he's, I don't know. Considering that this was supposed to be Silent Hills.
That's very weird to think about. This is what it became.
This is kind of what it became, and now the Kojima Productions are working on their next game. Apparently, they're currently scoring the music for it and hiring up.
We shall await with bated breath.
I bet it will be.
See what
I bet
fresh
it.
nightmare he unveils upon us now.
I bet it will be a smaller scope game than Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Jacob,
Yes.
what have you been playing?
I've been playing a few things, fellow beans. How do we want to do this? I guess the smallest one of all of them would be a small Hades update again. I've now beaten the game with every weapon.
Oh.
Yay.
Yeah, so last time I spoke about this, it was the bow and the shield I think I'd beaten it with. And then it just kind of obviously as you get to a point in that game where you're upgraded so much to where it kind of becomes a bit easier and you understand room layouts and things like that a bit better. Managed to do it with the rest of the weapons. So now I'm just a bit kind of like, I guess I just try and do it with the harder settings to try and upgrade the rest of the things and whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like a soft objective for me where I was like, well, I've done it with these weapons, but I've not done it with these ones. So yeah, I'll try and do it.
So I know there is. How many completed runs have you done?
It would just be the 6 with one with each weapon.
So you want try and get to 10 completed runs.
10
It doesn't have to be
Packs
10 in a row.
Yeah.
It's just like make sure you finish that game with 10 cleared
10
runs
goes.
because there is extra story stuff after 10, an actual credits after you hit 10. That's the end of that is if you stop playing after the 10 runs, you'll be more than satisfied
kind of the
with
end of the main story, yeah,
like the conclusion and stuff like that.
Okay.
Which is my current goal. I want to get back into that game and hit that. I want to get good with the gun.
I really enjoy the gun.
And the bow and arrow.
I think that was the first one that I did it with after my initial 2 that I spoke about last week. It was the close range stuff that I struggled with the most. So yeah, I think I did it with the gun, and then it was the fists, and then I was stuck with the sword and the spear for a while. Got really lucky with my sword build. Ended up having one where it's like you just hold attack and it attacks really quickly, and then got that in combination with the Deedless Hammer upgrade that allows you have like a load less max health, but each strike that you do replenishes 2 health. So I just kind of kept chopping and chopping and chopping and not really losing health. I could kind of
just like the
mitigate the damage. Yeah, exactly. Just chopping. And then the spear took me the longest. But I ended up just upgrading. I think it's the aspect of Hades or something like that to get like a strong sweep attack. And yeah,
I want to get back into that game. I want to see that story through. I want to see some of the romance options and stuff like that.
I tried my damnedest to romance Dusa before this podcast so I could talk about it. I've given her as much as I can, but I feel like I just need to talk to her more at this point. Because I don't think I can give her anything more right now. I'm not at the point where I can give her an ambrosia yet. I did that for Skelly. I did Skelly's little side mission when you give him ambrosia. Have you done that?
I've seen it.
It had me going. Spoilers, I guess. I don't know if I presume Lauren doesn't care and whatever.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah,
Ollie still hasn't done it because he's silly.
Yeah, so spoilers for the little side quest that you do for Skelly. But once you reach a kind of high enough relationship rating with him, he's like, I'm going to level with you. Me just standing around here, unable to die in the underworld, basically being your training dummy. I want to die. I don't want to be here. So you have to level up one of your swords enough, and then if you beat him up enough with that sword, it'll kill him. And I was like, well, it's what he wants. He's one of my good friends. I will oblige his wish. And you do it, and it was a really sad moment, and you get like a quest pop up for doing it. You get a reward, and then he comes back and he was like, how'd you go? And didn't I? And I was like, you little shit. I was well sad that I was like, right, I guess I'm gonna do it now. I'm sorry, Skelly. It's like taking old Yeller out back. I was like, I'm sorry, Skelly, I'm gonna have to do it. And then he just came back and was like, that was funny.
It's like that Barney Gumble meme.
Yeah, he just came back in. I threw him out and he just walked right back behind me. Still enjoying it. Not been playing it quite so much over the past day or two because, yeah, as I say, that kind of objective I had of finishing it with all the weapons is kind of done with now. And I didn't feel like I had much more to do other than upgrading stuff and kind of just beating the game to experience a bit more story. But hearing that 10 runs is kind of the point to get all the main story done with, that's kind of given me a bit more direction with it. So I'll probably go back to it.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Is like I want to get a completed run with all the weapons, get decent at the range stuff because I'm terrible with it.
The bow is my favorite weapon still, yeah.
And then see those 10 runs through. I think I've got 2 cleared runs, so
yeah. No, good.
a ways off, but
no, this is
something to do.
Yeah. So that was my Hades update at the very least. I suppose I'll get into my Battlegrounds chat now.
Go
before I get into the 2 main things that I've been playing. Played some more Battlegrounds this morning so that I'd have a little story time for you guys.
It's the only reason I turned up.
Exactly, yeah. So if you'll remember, last time we left, we were in Scotland with Jessica Johnson, Buff Merida.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who was about to face off with Natalia Neidhart, who couldn't spell. So, beginning then, I beat Natalia, mainly with a motorcycle that we found under the ring. Once the match was over, Jessica Johnson introduces Natalia to her friend Agnes, who just so happens to be a medieval trebuchet.
Excuse me?
As in like a catapult. A big wooden catapult called Agnes. It's not like humanoid, it doesn't talk or speak, but apparently it has a name. Okay. It's called Agnes.
Okay.
Natalia is like, you're not going to catapult me. You're bluffing. She wasn't. So she catapulted Natalia, presumably to her death. After beating her in a match, she just fired her off. Yeah. We later find out that she was aimed to land in a lake, so it's all okay.
Thank God.
Yes, and Jessica tells Steve Austin this over dinner. Paul Heyman joins them at dinner and says that he's come up with a nickname for Jessica Johnston, which is the Loch Ness Mobster.
Oh, no.
Not the monster, no, a mobster. Which Jessica absolutely loves because she's dumb. Austin is also face-palming in the background as Heyman gives this nickname to her, so at least Austin has some sense in this scenario.
Good old Steve.
Yeah. Beth Phoenix flew over with Paul Heyman as well and isn't happy that her friend got shot out of a catapult, which led to the line, nobody catapults my best friend over a castle wall and gets away with it, which is not something I'd experience in a wrestling game, but here we are. Beth was a really difficult fight, actually, but I still managed to win.
The sad thing is like I can picture both Beth Phoenix and Natalia saying this line in their very stilted promo because neither of them are a good promo.
If Natalia
so
did it would be followed with one of her kind of general Natalia noises when she gets excited.
Yeah, like her fake acting. I can't act, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah, it's sad that I can. It's sad that like you saying Beth Phoenix is involved with this line. Is the most realistic thing this game has actually.
Yeah, it's one of the more believable parts. So yeah, beat Beth Phoenix, who was actually one of the harder fights. She asks not to be catapulted, rightly so. So instead, Jessica has her tied to a horse and ran away from the castle.
What?
Yeah, just tied to a horse and just off you pop. There you go.
Oh,
like being dragged behind the horse?
No, on top of it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that'd be brutal.
We're not total monsters.
Yeah. No, she's a baby face after all. She's not a heel. Apparently, Beth Phoenix, as she's going away, she shouts that she's going to tell Nia Jax about this.
Oh no, not Nia Jax.
Oh yeah. Steve Austin says, "Oh no, Nia Jax, now you've poked the bear." Or that if bears could talk, they'd say that you've poked Nia Jax. So this is serious business now. Nia turns up and literally says nothing to us. She was quite a difficult fight. So it seems like maybe the difficulty is amping up on the game. Or maybe they just made Nia Jax and Beth Phoenix particularly hard. We never see what happened after I beat Nia Jax, but honestly, after what Jessica did to the other two, I dread to think what she did to her. Steve Austin then takes Jessica to Orlando to the Performance Center and says it's not that different from Scotland. It just has more reptiles, sinkholes, and humidity. Humidity? Maybe it doesn't have humility either. So we're now at the Performance Center. We're done with Jessica Johnson. All the new recruits are at the Performance Center now. So it was nice to see Bolo and Billy and Salazar and the Vela twins. They were all there. The whole gang's there. They tried to play a video message that Vince McMahon sent them, but an ominous message stating that the Disruptor is in control appears on the screen instead. Billy Huggins says it must be a hacker, and he advises that no one give them their PIN number. To which the hacker then puts a message on screen and says that Huggins is a dummy because calling it a PIN number is redundant because the N in number is, well, N in PIN number stands for number, so what a goof.
Oh my.
The hacker states that they're the missing link to the Battlegrounds crew and that he requests Austin to find him in Detroit. So we go to Detroit, the Motor City. He finds a guy. He actually ends up finding the guy, Gabriel the Disruptor Pierce in Detroit. Gabriel says he's been winning local matches for years and that Austin should give him a go. Austin is basically like, no. But then Gabriel threatens him with the fact that he also has Austin's search history, and then Austin is like, "Okay, yeah, you can have a shot." So Lord knows what Steve Austin's been looking at, but apparently it's enough for him to turn around on this situation. I'm not sure if Steve Austin was made aware that he's being defamed in this sense in this game. It's being implied that he's into some weird shit.
He's got ladies on rattlesnakes.
Oh yeah.
Rattlesnake dildos.
Nice. Yep, snakeskin dildos. So
slippery when wet.
Oh yes. So yeah, as Gabriel the Disruptor, we fought the Miz first of all and beat him pretty easily by using an exploding barrel of petrol on him because we're wrestling in a garage, being the Motor City and all. The Miz says something isn't right here. And I noted this down specifically because his face in the comic looked more like JBL than the Miz. Turns out that Gabriel hacked Austin's email to make the Miz come here. Miz says he's done with the internet because, I mean, first of all, apparently a Nigerian prince took all his money and now this.
Oh my God.
So the Miz is a sucker, apparently, yeah. Later in the day, Gabriel is educating Austin on the fact that when you put stuff in the recycle bin in Windows, it doesn't fully delete it. To where they find this actually
I don't
happened.
know if you're bullshitting me
No,
now.
this is real. This is just them, like, at some point in the day, they're just walking to the ring eating pizza, and he's like, yeah, so if you actually put it in the recycle bin, it doesn't delete it. And Austin's like, really? What?
But
I tell you what, you can fix my phone anytime.
Yeah. They find R-Truth in the ring, who's apparently been there for an hour. Neither of them contacted him. He just kind of showed up in typical R-Truth fashion. Instead, Steve Austin was like, I called someone else. I called in Luke Gallows from Impact Wrestling. Just exempting the Impact Wrestling part, obviously. But Gabriel also called someone as well using Austin's credentials, which is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh.
The Rock comes in and calls R-Truth and Luke Gallows peons, which is The Rock terminology, obviously, not jabronis, but peons. And that begins the most random fatal four-way of all time, yeah, with The Rock, R-Truth, Luke Gallows, and The Disruptor. And that's where I got up to.
Oh, boy.
It's all happening.
Jacob, every week this just gets worse and worse.
What do you mean? And Steve Austin receiving IT tips and...
like, it started off really weird, but now it's like reaching like absurdist levels where it's like reaching back around from like, haha, this is so funny, it's good, to, oh my God, this is so weird, to it's like you're questioning,
is
like,
this real?
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got
like
the rest
like a
of
team
this...
had to sit down and write this.
Yeah,
and then hire artists
to
or like
draw
use
it.
their art team to draw it.
Yeah. Can you imagine
And
them
then
being presented with the script and just being like, "Oh, really?"
and then coders had to like make the comic book
Mm.
for you to read it and to scroll through it and zoom through it, and oh
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got the rest of the Disruptors chapter, and then we're up to WrestleMania. So, it'll either be next week or the week after that I guess I'm done with this. But
and then we'll be able
and then
to
who knows what I'll do?
recreate it.
What am I going to do
I
on my
don't.
weekly story time?
We'll have to find something else.
Some kind of other weird ass game for me to recount. Yeah. But yeah, that's Battlegrounds, which brings me on to the two main things I'd say I've been playing this week.
Ooh.
Do we want to start with the good news or the bad news?
Let's start with the good
The good
news.
Oh,
news.
Lord.
Okay. So on a whim, I mean, I was kind of thinking early this week about the Scott Pilgrim game re-release they're going to be bringing out because I absolutely love that game.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me hankering for a bit of a beat 'em up. And kind of on a whim / it's something I've been keeping my eye on for quite a long time. I bought Streets of Rage 4.
Oh.
Yeah, so I played this via Game
Oh,
Pass
it's on Game Pass.
little while ago. I
Hmm.
want to know what you think of Streets of Rage 4.
So, Streets of Rage 1 is a game I hold quite dear to myself because it was on the when we got our Mega Drive initially. It had the 6-in-1 game cart with it that had like Sonic 1 and columns and all that bullshit on it. And had Streets of Rage 1 on it, which I absolutely loved. I still go back to it every now and then. It's pretty fun. Streets of Rage 4, I am enjoying it a lot. I guess the only real gripe I'd say is that I know they want to kind of recapture the old magic, as it were, because there's not been a Streets of Rage game in a really long time. But there
Yeah.
are a few things they could have still modernized. Otherwise, it's really, really great. I'm enjoying the kind of nostalgia trip of it, and kind of the new characters are fun. They feel like they fit in with the existing ones. Was a little bummed out I had to unlock the guy that I played as in Streets of Rage 1, which was Adam.
Oh, right, okay.
But
I
yeah, go on.
I thought I thought that game played a lot better than I thought it was going to. Like
Yeah.
the risk reward of using your health for special moves, and and then also like like you said, it could have done to modernize a few things.
When I say that, I mainly mean the lack of a block button frustrates me.
Yes, lack of a block button, and I don't know, like
Because there are some situations where you'll be given a bunch of enemies to take out, and I feel like sometimes there's just a no-win situation where it's like, okay, well, if I go for these guys, this guy's going to come up behind me and batter me.
yeah, especially like the guys with the taser and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just some of the
like that
enemy
police level.
configurations where it's just like, yeah, you don't really stand much of a chance of not getting hit sometimes. But then again, that feeds into the kind of managing of the health items in the level that you come across and knowing when to use those, because it's very, it's very attractive prospect, just like punching a bin open and being like, oh wait, chicken, I want to do it straight away, but then you're like, wait, no, if I kind of fight the enemies that are probably going to be in front of me first and then use the chicken afterwards, that's probably the better idea. So you have to kind of manage your health in that kind of sense as well. So I
Yeah,
guess you
'cause
get rid of that, but
the game's not particularly long. Like it
no,
requires,
I bought it.
it
Oh, when did I buy it? I bought it last night actually, and yeah, played it for probably played it for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and I'm at stage like 10 out of 12,
mm,
something like that. It's a game that you're
it,
definitely is built to be played multiple times with different characters and difficulties and
and
so on.
co-op and like, hey, let's
Yeah,
play this, and it's like, let's see if we can do it on the hardest difficulty. And
yeah. The
but
soundtrack is probably my favorite part. The soundtrack is fantastic. As someone who's really
soundtrack's real
into
good.
synth wavy sort of stuff, that's
Mm.
kind of like my main genre of music that I listen to nowadays.
I like
It's great.
how chunky it looks.
Yeah,
Everything has like a weight to it.
the art style's great. With the kind of
The
cell shading side of things, and
the only thing is like movement. I think could be smoother. and like a block button. Like I know it's trying to
Yeah.
recreate, that Streets of Rage 4,
Mhm.
the Streets of Rage 2, 1 and 2 feel.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm just like, everything when you're in combat and like, dialing out combos
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and it's like that feels
It
incredibly
feels
smooth. But
really
then
good.
it's like,
Yeah.
and then suddenly it's like, haha, remember the 90s?
Yeah, it's like
Whenever you have to move, and it's just like,
when it's
jeez.
going right, it feels so right. Which is where it's like, you jump kick into a guy, do a 4-hit combo, they bounce off the wall, you can jump back into them again and then pick up the combo. That's really, really fun, and it feels amazing when you do that. But yeah, so many times where you're like in the middle of a big combo or something, and then someone will just walk up behind you and just tap you or something, and it just takes you
Yeah.
out of everything, and you're like, it's just a bit stuttery and juddery. And yeah, as I say, the block button would help with that. In terms of the movement side of things that you mentioned, it is one of the things that kind of feeds into how the different characters work. Because the kind of one of the new characters, the girl Cherry, who's the daughter of Adam, she's the only one who can actually run in the game. If you like double tap
Yeah.
right, she can actually run, and she has like a really good like dash attack that way. Whereas yeah, Adam has like a normal just kind of like step dash sort of thing. I think the other new character, I can't remember what his name is. I think it's Floyd or something like that. The guy with the big metal arms. He can't dash
Mm.
at all. He's all about like picking people up and chucking them at each other and whatever. Didn't get on too well with him just because I think I like the mobility a bit more. But
Yeah.
they've put a lot of
I,
thought
I,
in, and yeah, no, I'm really
I
enjoying
was
it.
when I played it, I was like very surprised at how well like they'd managed to,
Yeah,
you know, do the, it's not a 1-to-1, but that's fine.
yeah,
Like you don't want just Streets of Rage 1 all
mm,
over again or Streets of Rage 2 all over again. It does its own thing while still
yeah,
harkening back to what people actually wanted. It plays as you remember it.
yeah. I like all
One of
the new
those
stuff they've
things.
introduced, especially one of the recurring characters that you come across, who I really hope you unlock at the end of the game, but I don't know, is Estelle, the police lady. She's cool as shit.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's like Rhea Ripley if she was a policewoman. Um, but yeah, no, I really, really hope you unlock her, or if they make a DLC or something, they probably won't. But yeah, she's super cool. Yeah, I'm as someone who really, really liked Streets of Rage 1, and mainly got this off of a recommendation from one of the YouTubers I follow. Yeah, very, very pleased with it.
What's the bad news?
The
Lay it
bad
on
news.
us.
Oof. Okay, so as you all know, I've also upgraded to an iPhone 12.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and one of the kind of things that I get joy out of when I get one of these new phones is obviously I can clear out all the old bollocks I don't need anymore that was on my old phone, because I have to obviously re-download all of my old apps and things like that. I go through my purchase history on the App Store and kind of re-download everything that I want.
Uh-huh.
So when I was with my old phone before I gave it in, I was kind of looking through my apps, figuring out what I wanted to keep, and then I saw Hearthstone there.
Oh, Jacob,
I saw
no.
it, and I was like,
No.
I wonder what's going on with Hearthstone.
Oh.
Let's have a look.
You literally 2 weeks
I
ago you
know.
talked about how you
I
were done with
know.
that point of your
As
life.
soon as I
You've
like opened it up,
relapsed.
I was like, they're gonna be so disappointed in me.
Oh,
Um,
the worst part
s-
is I'm
You'd
not even
managed.
surprised.
so I opened it up, and I've not played in about about three expansions I think there's been since I played,
Oh,
and
God.
there's so much stuff that they're giving me that is like, hey Jacob, welcome back. Here's everything that you've missed. Don't worry about it. And just look at all this single player content that's come out since then, and it's suckering me back in, and that's why I'm the schmuck,
What?
because I've been
Oh,
playing.
you are the
I've mainly been.
schmuck.
It's the main thing I've been playing these past few days. I've just been going through all this single player content that I've missed on Hearthstone, and I really like it. It's great.
Jacob Schmuckins.
That's me. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all of that aside of me being a Blizzard just like reeling me back in, I have been really enjoying it. The single player content in Hearthstone is so well made, and it never gets enough of a shout out because everyone's always bitching about the competitive scene, and
Yeah.
how how much of a clown fiesta that game is, and whatever when you're playing against people. I mean, I dare say that when I do actually finish the single player content, I'll probably I'll probably just stick to Arena until the new expansion comes out. I've got a load of gold and stuff still saved up from before that I forgot I even had. So
we
yeah.
can gauge just how bad your relapse is. Have you dropped money on it yet since you?
No.
Okay.
I've been tempted because I think that they've literally realized that I've not played the game in a long time, because there's a special thing in the shop called the Welcome Back bundle that I can buy, which is like you get 1 legendary card and 20 packs for a tenner. And I was like, that's a pretty good deal. I'd probably do that if I wasn't just playing the single player for now, where I don't need that stuff. But yeah, the main thing why I stopped playing it was because I kind of fell a little bit behind with it. And when you fall a little bit behind with it, you then fall a lot behind with it. And I was like, oh, there's a whole new class now that's come out since I played. There's like 3 expansions and stuff.
Wait till I tell Ollie.
The stuff that they've brought in to kind of reacquaint me with things is kind of dispelled all those fears. And yeah, I'm having a good time with Hearthstone again, as dirty as it makes me feel.
Well, whatever makes you happy makes the beans happy.
There you go.
I mean, I can't.
We
talk.
literally cannot judge. Like yeah.
With the MTG, I don't know if this means that Magic the Gathering's off the table for me now. Probably does, but
considering the state of that game at the minute, like
I feel like that was also a contributing factor, because it didn't sound like a good time to get into the game.
They banned the cards that were an issue.
Yes, the Norman Reedus card.
No,
was he not a card?
Yes,
okay.
But that's not in Arena. Within Standard, they've banned the cards that were an issue. So now Standard is a little bit more fun because not everybody is playing the same deck.
I feel like much how I am with Hearthstone, in that I mainly enjoy Arena and not Constructed. I feel like with Magic, I mainly enjoy Draft and not Normal.
Yes, Draft is the way to play, but boy, Arena got an update in the last couple days, a patch, and it's just broken everything, like client side, not the game itself, but like not like the actual playing Magic bit is broken, but like, well, no, actually in some cases people have been posting on like the subreddit like, hey, my lands are going down really slowly and then just falling through the floor like through the board, or I'm stuck on a black screen, why can't I connect to the server? That's stupid stuff like that. Yeah,
well,
now is not the time to get into Magic the Gathering.
Well, I'm back in Blizzard's firm bosom of Hearthstone.
Their cold bosom.
Yeah. As I say, the new expansion is going to be coming out in a few weeks' time, I think. They've just announced the new one. So that's probably when I'll be hitting the Constructed side, maybe. For now, I'll just stick to the single player and maybe a bit of Arena. But
yeah, it makes me wish that Magic Arena had single player content in some capacity. But
they've also announced a new game mode called Duels, which I've not tried out yet.
Yeah, I saw this. It's like pre-constructed stuff.
I literally know nothing about it. I've not even looked. I watched the cinematic trailer and that explained nothing. So the best comparison I could get to it is, obviously it has no bearing on the mechanics at all, but it seemed like the wizard duels from Harry Potter. Based on the cinematic trailer, at the very least. That's the way they framed it. So I don't really know, and I don't even know if I'll play Battlegrounds or not. What is it? Battlegrounds? Is that the name of the auto chess mode? Battlegrounds.
In Duels, you'll choose a hero power, a starting treasure, and build a 15-card starter deck from your collection before facing off against a series of worthy human opponents. Human is in italics and emphasized.
Human.
Wow.
Devise your path to victory by enhancing your deck after each match with minions, spells, and powerful treasures to aid in increasingly difficult encounters with other players. Basically, it sounds a lot like Legends of Runeterra's draft mode.
Yeah, because I mean that sounds like it's got elements of some of the old single player content in there for things like Dungeon Run, which is where you'd start with.
Dungeon Run style is a word.
Oh, they actually
where
use that terminology. Okay.
yeah, duels will be accessible through modes button from the Hearthstone main screen where you'd go to play Battlegrounds or Arena.
The only thing that concerns me about that is that if you're building a 15 card deck from your collection, there's going to be like optimum decks and strategies and
Yeah, that was something that I started to notice in Runeterra,
mm,
which was like everyone seems to have found
the
like
best
the
combo.
path.
Yeah. And it was
Um,
one of the things that sometimes happens with some of the weekly tavern brawls they do, which are like, yeah, it rotates out every week and it's like a crazy set of rules for a week that you can play. And ones where you create your deck, I usually don't do just because within a day or two, there'll be guides up online of like, this is the optimum Tavern Brawl deck if you want to play Tavern Brawl. And I'm like, it's just not fun. I like the random side of things for
Yeah.
Hearthstone. So if it was more like erring towards the Dungeon Run style side of things, where even the cards that you started with were random and then you choose from the random pools to upgrade your deck as you go, I feel like that would have been nicer. But I'll try it at the very least, see how it goes.
yeah, the Magic's little extra game mode thing,
Mm.
Momir, um, was horrendously broken, to the point where
Ooh,
they just put yeah. So it's like you get random. I can't remember what the rules are now, but basically it's a weirder play to play Magic. Basically, it's just a
mm.
different variation. The problem with it was no one knows what the issue was with it. We just know that there was bugs in it. It was breaking the game. Well, no, people know what the issues were, but I don't. The instead of fixing it or anything along those
Mm.
lines, they just pulled it out of the game.
Oh, they were like, yeah, this isn't worth the stress.
This isn't worth the stress over the weekend. See ya for an event that's going to last 48 hours.
Wow.
Like, but yeah,
Well,
yes. So
do you-
that's what we've been playing.
Mm.
well, this brings us nicely to a little question I have for you guys. So
Lauren,
obviously,
big question.
yeah,
Lauren's question of the week.
I'm still waiting for my jingle.
That's it.
Ah,
That's the
cool.
one.
Add some bells, and I'm sold.
Hang on. Let me get a clean take of it. One sec. Lauren's question of the week. I'll put some echo and stuff like that on it.
Perfect, amazing. Right. So obviously, this one I have my answer prepared because you might need like a minute to think about it.
Okay.
So question of the week: if you could combine two games for like a spin-off or a merge or a crossover of two games or two franchises, what would it be? Elaborate as much as you want. Now, if you need a second, I've thought about this a lot,
Mm.
and my personal choice would be Animal Crossing and Pokemon, because we
Mm.
know that I love a sim game, and I love the idea of having your own island which you run the Pokemon gym, and then you have your Pokemon residence, and you get to like build your island depending on what Pokemon type you have chosen, and you get to like visit other people's gyms and islands and battle, and then you get to earn stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, basically just like I want to be able to like breed different eggs for different kinds of the Pokemon of the type of the gym I've
Yeah.
chosen, and use that kind of thing to level up my island, and just yeah, that is my jam. And I think if I could create a baby of two mummy and daddy games, that's what it
Mm.
would be.
Like a Pokemon life sim.
Yeah, with like
So
Animal
just
Crossing vibes.
ooblets.
Don't get me started. Look, I am poor. Like my birthday's in 3 days, payday's a few days later. I just want to play Ooblets so bad.
Need it.
Just want to play
Uh,
Ooblets.
Oh, I'm, I'm,
hmm.
I'm trying real hard.
Yeah,
Thinking.
it doesn't have to be as like well thought out as mine. Obviously, I'm very sad and I've thought about this a lot.
My immediate thought process was either combining two fighting games, with fighting games being some of my favorite games,
mm,
like a Street Fighter Cross Tekken was, or alternatively turning another franchise into a fighting game using the mechanics from
Exactly.
another, but I'm just
There
trying
are
to think
so
of
many options.
a good combo.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
You
there
could
was
literally
a
just drop the characters of one game into the world of another, or you can smash them
Yeah.
together so they're one completely new thing. Like, this is the kind of thought-provoking question that I will just sit and talk about for ages.
I've got a very easy kind of basic bitch ass answer. Um,
Go on then.
which I will give and still think about it in case I come up with something better. But something that I've at least discussed with friends in the past is why the fuck isn't Super Smash Kart a thing?
Yeah.
Smash Bros. Cast in a Mario
Oh,
Kart game.
oh my god, like Double Dash type.
Yeah, just all Nintendo stuff. Maybe even some
Yeah,
guests
I
if you can get
loved
it.
the fighting aspect of Double Dash where you could punch people.
Yeah, Double
I
Dash is
feel like that.
my favorite Mario Kart.
Me too. Me too.
GameCube kids.
I don't think that's a basic bitch answer. I think that's very valid.
Yeah, it's just it just seems to make sense, obviously, because yeah, Mario Kart. I don't want to say Mario Kart at this point needs something to kind of zhuzh it up a bit because it doesn't really. It's still going
But
to sell
anything new would
bundles
be
and bundles.
welcome.
But yeah, when they've got Smash Bros as a franchise, I'm like, why would you not just make a Nintendo version of this instead of just keeping it exclusively to Mario Kart? I mean, they've already kind of started to do that with the DLC characters with Link and the Animal Crossing stuff. So I'm like, just go the whole hog, just do it. Yeah. Think of the how many systems that might sell. Yeah.
okay. So take the music stylings and music battles of Metal Gear Rising,
Oh my god, you've already got me. I love Metal Gear
and
Rising
then
so hard.
and then and then put and then just make it JoJo.
Oh my god, Joel. You're doing things to me.
I
That's a
want
fantastic answer.
I want a platinum JoJo
Oh,
game
oh,
where you can beat up Dio to that very loud dubstep.
yes. I would be all over
Um,
that.
I want like the JoJo game of Part 3, basically.
Yeah.
Parts 1 through 3 of JoJo, but Platinum have done it.
Do you like part 4?
Yes, I didn't watch Part 4. I read Part 4. So then I was just like, I don't want to sit through this all over
Because
again.
part 4 is where my watch through of JoJo's came to a grinding halt. I don't know why.
It
I don't even dislike it that much. I'm just like, it just didn't have much motivation to finish watching it.
I guess because it's so far removed
Yeah, I loved part 3 so
from
much.
Part
So,
3, like it's not till Part 6 that they start bringing like circling back around to like the consequences of Part 3,
yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I would love, like, imagine Platinum making the fight between Jotaro and Dio,
Oh, Road Roller.
or you know, Polnareff and
Mm.
Polnareff when he's possessed with his,
Oh, fighting Avdol.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
or or the Joseph versus Cars fight.
Yeah. Even like Joseph and AC/DC where he's got all those tripwires and shit.
It'd be so
Pretty
good.
good. I
It'd be so
I feel like
cool.
Platinum in general, like yeah, like either Metal Gear Rising or Bayonetta style or whatever versions of a lot of games would be pretty rad. A lot of
Um,
franchises
a lot of
could benefit
franchises.
from
I
a
would,
platinum touch.
but I think a JoJo game that's in that style, because all
Hmm.
the JoJo games so far have been either like almost there.
I have one on PS4, but I've not played it. Eyes of Heaven.
Eyes of Heaven. Eyes of Heaven's a 3D weird
Yeah.
fighter. That's, the story mode's interesting, but like Jolene meeting Jotaro, but he's
Young.
18-year-old Jotaro
Yeah.
instead of like 50-something year
Yeah.
old dad Jotaro, but still wearing his high school outfit.
Mm.
Um, we've got to be careful, otherwise we'll just end up talking about
Is it a
JoJo.
time travel story?
You saw time travel, like across, like bringing all the JoJos,
Together.
together from across time,
Okay.
and then mashing them up. Like Dio meeting Dio meeting Geo for the first
Joy.
time,
Okay,
and
interesting.
stuff like that.
But yeah, that was a very good answer, Joel. I would totally buy that game, and I think you win this round, in my opinion. This is competitive in any sense.
Well, that's it for this week then. Thank you for joining us. Everything can be found at superprofessional.co.uk. Yeah, we'll be back next week, hopefully with Ollie's regaling tales of Norman Reedus and the magical fetus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this game just so I can even keep up with the conversation.
But I played through that game and analyzed the story, and I still can't tell you what happened.
Send me all the footage if you have it, Joel.
I've got to re-record it.
Fair. I'll watch it. Let's play.
I had to delete it. It was 330 gigabytes of footage.
Gross.
Most of it me walking across mountains in case a cutscene happens.
Stumbling over.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Hey.